Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started. Ooh, nice and sort of cozy, dreary morning for me. A little drizzly outside and nice and overcast. It's kind of a slow start to the morning though, kind of makes me want to stay in bed. But let's go ahead and get started. Obviously we're jumping in for another session of our solo D&D 5e play. And we are in the middle of an overland travel segment. We're moving from Carjuntan all the way back to Split Valley Oasis with a gaggle of people in tow. We have sellswords, we have academics, we have a dragon wormling, and now their newly acquired dragon sort of kobold shield, dragon shield. Well, I guess we equate to sort of a knight, a bodyguard, protector, housecarl, whatever you want to call that, for Rhymefire. And we still need to find Rhymefire a home, but first we gotta get to Split Valley Oasis. And we've made it about halfway there. And last time I thought we'd get further, but that's we ended up just how the dice fall that we ended up doing a whole bunch of stuff and getting caught up with a bunch of things that I wasn't really expecting. But that's great. I mean, that's part of why we play this. So I guess the first thing we should do, obviously, if you like the content, subscribe on YouTube. We also stream over on Twitch. We also have the blog over on redragonfiend.com. We go into more of the sort of DM side of things. So if you're looking for more sort of Dungeon Master, Game Master tips for Dungeons & Dragons and other TTRPGs, that's the best place to go. I've been running that blog for over a decade. It's lots of good stuff over there, lots of fun. Got a nice little community talking with people. Recently we've been talking about the region hex mapping, which I've been doing over here on YouTube as well. So you guys have been checking that out. So if you have any specific topics or any questions, make sure to drop them as a comment, send them as a message, leave them as comments over on the blog. You know, just give us a shout out, and that tells me exactly what sort of topics are impactful for you, what sort of content you guys want to see out of the channel, and what sort of difficulties you guys have as either a player or a dungeon master or a game master for whatever system. Of course, don't know all systems, but I know quite a few, so I can at least give you some specifics about some systems, and then be able to provide you with guys with more generic just sort of dungeon master or player information. Let's see other things that are going on. Played D&D on Friday. That was great. Had a lot of fun. Really sort of the plot's finally sort of coalesced now. We've been doing a number of sessions and kind of been a little bit all over the place and trying to figure out where we are, but we finally sort of galvanized the plot team, really sort of finally got the string around us and sort of cinched us up tight. So we're looking good there. So we're heading off to deal with us. Our plot's primarily dealing with hags. Each of the PC has some sort of nasty bargain or history with a different hag, as we found out, and now we're sort of trying to figure that all out. For my character specifically, it's either he has to do this one thing or figure out how to undo it, or he will, I guess, slowly, one by one, kill his entire extended family line. So his entire bloodline will die, and as he found out recently, that's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. So he's trying to get that figured out. So it's been a lot of fun. It's also been very interesting playing a lycanthrope, which I've never done before in 5e. So this character's been a wild ride so far, and I'm happy and excited to see sort of where that goes. But today, let's focus back in on the solo RPG, and I think the first thing we should do is probably go through a little recap. Let's talk about what we did last time. So we're about halfway through the overland journey. We're going from the city of Carjuntan, and we're traveling back to Split Valley Oasis, which is, of course, where we started everything. And now that I think about it, I have not actually brought up the map. Let me do that for myself real quick. There we go. So primarily over here on the left, so we are sort of right in this little area right here, this little sort of grasslands area in between Carjuntan, which we left from, which is the big city, where we're trying to figure stuff out. We realized that there is our trader, and they might be chasing us as well as the Chimera. We have a bunch of people who are sort of after us, and either our main character Leah specifically, or one of the other people who are with her, all the academics that have been sort of blacklisted, and and chase down, and we have Norcruth, who's coming after us primarily for Rhyme Fire. We ran into some kobolds who were interested in Rhyme Fire, and we killed most of them except for the one Dragon Shield who showed exceptional bravery in the face of staggering odds to try to save Rhyme Fire from the fate of, we assume, some sort of miscommunication that they thought we had captured Rhyme Fire, which makes sense because we first came across Rhyme Fire when he was captured, but that was not the case. But this one dogged determination, so Rhyme Fire's sort of taken him as sort of his first sort of bodyguard kobold towards building his own, I guess hoard, his own lair. That's one of the things we're looking for him. Someplace for the wormling can be safe and sort of grow up. He is a metallic wormling, so he is good aligned. I don't use alignment typically, but we can tell we've had enough sort of interaction with Rhyme Fire that he doesn't seem particularly evil in any aspect. So that's we're open to help him, and especially Omer, who is more of the dragon specific expert, has really been pushing for this. It was one of our academics. So we were heading to the trading post that is Split Valley Oasis, which we are heading west to. So we're about halfway there. We got about another week, and let's go through sort of what we did. So we got a recap note. So that was session 28. This is session 29. So we had our first week of overland travel. We got through the exploration bit. We jumped into the overland travel. So in the first one, we found some supplies. We ended up doing some foraging. Imbar nearly got bit by a snake. That's that's about that. And then we did our second day. We had a potential shortcut that Imbar came up with. We decided not to take that. We decided to stay on the path that we knew, and we have Ott as our guide, and Leah's made that journey with and without Ott before. Between Split Valley Oasis and Carjutan, so we didn't really want to go off the beaten track. Like, we could have saved maybe some time, but there also could have been potentially get lost, and we're not under a super big time constraint, and we have plenty of supplies, so we decided to just keep on going. Unfortunately, at that point, we did fail our con save, which means that we got the first level of exhaustion, so we needed to take a camp day to rest up. So because, of course, with overland travel or exploration, a lot of that is ability checks or skill checks, and that first level of exhaustion is not helpful for us. We definitely don't want that, because it really means we'll start failing stuff, even at that first level of exhaustion. So we took a camp day, which means 24 hours just kind of sit in camp and hang out and recoup. And we did that, and we took off. Well, actually, during that night and during Leah's watch is when we got attacked by the kobolds. Kobolds came and charmed Leah, and it was sort of the sorcerer was kind of unsuccessful, sort of trying to figure out the situation. And finally, we were able to sort of get around to it. There was combat, and again killed everybody except that one dragon shield. Well, we didn't kill everybody. Some of them ran away, but we killed most of them. But that one dragon shield just showed such courage in the face of overwhelming odds and certain death. In his attempt to sort of misguided attempt to free Rhyme Fire, that we were like, oh. Rhyme Fire sort of interceded and was like, all right, well, you've shown your bravery, you're loyal, you can be my servant. And so Rhyme Fire has gained their first sort of kobold servant. And again, Rhyme Fire and this kobold are kind of hanging out by themselves, just because we can't really travel with a dragon, because that's going to drive, people in the countryside crazy. So they're sort of off to the side, to sort of parallel traveling with us, staying sort of off the main road, basically, kind of out of range of being basically spotted by anybody. So that's why we're not using Rhyme Fire for most of our sort of like random encounters and things like that, because it doesn't really make sense to be traveling with a dragon like that, because it's going to cause us more harm than probably good. Right, we're trying to keep a relatively low profile, since we have people who are actively chasing us and coming after us. So we don't, and traveling around with the dragon is a great way to draw attention. So it's not particularly what we want. Let's see, we did our supply die check, we did that. We got attacked by the kobolds, talked about that. Grew did the brave kobold dragon shield. After that, we had the hazard. What was the hazard again? I don't remember. I should have made a note of it. I don't think it was the confusion. I think we ran into that last time we were traveling. I don't remember. And what is notable is that it wasn't much of an issue. So we ended up getting past that without enough that I don't remember the specifics of it. It wasn't too much of an issue for us as we were sort of traveling through. And again, this is sort of what I call node-based travel. I ended up rolling, so basically the way that this works, just to sort of interrupt it, is I basically roll like about a d4 of potential encounters or things to come across, challenges, obstacles, etc., opportunities to engage with people, other travelers and creatures, whatever. About 1d4 per week of travel. So if we travel less than a week, I might only have one, maybe two, maybe none, depending on what I'm trying to do with the plot, if I'm running it for like a normal group. But this allows me to sort of make it feel like the travel's got stuff going on without it being like an everyday thing, right? So the idea being that, you know, they only come across something that's a notable encounter worth mentioning every, you know, 2 days, 2 to 3 days, something like that, in general. But then we went through, we got our next one, so at about the halfway point, we came across the wreckage of a wagon caravan. It was sort of four wagons, 8 dead bodies. They're being destroyed by a pack of gazers, which are sort of like mini beholders, so little floating eye beasts, if you're not familiar with them, that shoot magic rays out of their eyes. Usually so beholders by nature, and we know this, Leah knows this, since she's a wizard and she's well versed in this sort of stuff, that gazers and beholders are relatively solitary, isolated creatures. So we're not really sure why there was a bunch of them together, why they were destroying this caravan. We sifted through all the wreckage, got some stuff out of it. We got that chest with the wand of magic missiles, which is the most important thing we got out of that. But we did realize, and we got some supplies. We got some forage back, some feed for the mule and other animals, which we desperately needed. We were running short on. So I think we don't know anything about the caravan, so we have some questions about that we want to ask once we get to Split Valley Oasis, because it seems a little weird. Like, we found some religious iconography stuff, but not anything we knew. So we know it wasn't the cult of Narimano, who was also maybe slightly not after us. We know that the Chimera is part of that organization, who is definitely trying to attack specifically Leah, if I remember correctly. So we found some religious items, and we found most of it was relatively mundane, except for the wand of magic missiles, and we did find one of the dead bodies had 6 platinum pieces on it, so 60 gold worth, which is a lot compared to everything else that they were sort of carrying with them. So we have some questions because we didn't find any sort of like merchant guild banding or any sort of specifics, letters for passage. We don't know who these people were that got killed, and we don't know why these gazers attacked them. It could just be a random thing, but also like a pack of gazers is a very weird enemy to come across. Like, more than one beholderkin is very strange to come across. So we have some questions there that we kind of want to ask people about, like, who are they? Where are they going? As far as we know, we could tell sort of from looking at the wreckage, it seems like they were traveling from Split Valley Oasis to Carjunton, so in the exact opposite way that we're going. So we're hoping that when we get back, maybe somebody will be able to tell us who they were. And maybe we can at least report that, hey, there are a bunch of dead bodies on the road. Because, I mean, we're not going to take the time to bury 8 bodies. I said we're not on a time crunch, but we also don't want to just hang out in the open. The whole point of us going to Split Valley Oasis is that we're going to Akari, the major landholder for Split Valley Oasis, and we're trying to get from him specifically. We're trying to get like some safe place, some sanctuary for these people, because it's been very clear that Carjunton is not going to be a safe place for us to hang out in. Like, it's just not, right? We have too many enemies there. We've made too much of a mess there. It's too hot. The place is too hot for us, for Leah specifically, and for the other people involved. We have too many enemies there, including sort of our primary antagonist, who's in the wind somewhere. We haven't come across them yet, but we do, as far as we know, believe that they're in Carjuntan. So we need to get out of there. Plus, there's the whole zombie situation, the undead situation, and more likelihood to run into the Ghoul and what he was trying to do with Rhymefire. More likely to run into Norkruth, which will not be a good time. We're probably going to run across Norkruth again. He is particularly not happy with us, so that won't be fun whenever we do it. So it may be an instance where we actually end up, that might be a final confrontation with Norkruth. We've had a number of them, but the next one will probably be the one where one side's going to end up dead. Hopefully not us. Hopefully. You know, if somebody has to die, we'd prefer it to be Norkruth, and not us. But yeah, that's pretty much where we left off. So we're about halfway through the journey. We're still headed west, and we've got another week to do. Like I said, in the last time, I've already sort of mapped out the node encounters just because it's kind of boring to watch me just roll dice coming up with that. Just so we did it, so I just did it sort of in between streams before the last one because I didn't know how far we were going to get in the travel. And I just ended up rolling the max of encounters, so I rolled 2 4s, so we have quite a few. Under my to-dos, left a note for myself. Congrats. There's none. We actually got things done this time, so that's good. So our session goals, we're still trying to get everybody to Ikari and Split Valley Oasis. And we're going to pay on Imbar once we get there, and we need that safe layer for Empire. So that is where we're picking up. So we're going to pick it up, again, session 29, so we're picking this up right out the gate, getting ready to go. Of course, if you guys have any questions about what's going on, or any livelihood, any of that stuff. Oh, actually, no, I'm looking at, I actually probably need a refill on coffee before we get totally started. So maybe I should go ahead and do that before we jump right in. I thought I had more coffee than that when I turned the stream on. But that's alright. Actually, I think I'll probably switch over to tea, probably. Make that a little bit easier. Then we'll pick it up. So, was there any other treasure notes that we need to talk about? I don't think so. So that Carjuntan bank note, don't know when we're going to get a chance to cash that out. And there's the Elven Longbow, that's from Ikari. That's who we're going to return that. That's sort of a physical IOU that we got from Ikari for helping him out with the water Myrmidon, the corrupted Myrmidon. Corrupted sort of water elemental that was causing problems for him and his plantation. So we're hoping by returning that, we'll cash in that IOU for some sanctuary for all our gaggle of friends to try to. So we're hoping to set up sort of Split Valley Oasis as sort of our current base of operations, so we can figure out what's going on but do it in sort of a relatively safe environment, at least for the time being. But yeah, so let's go and do that. We'll continue west to Split Valley Oasis. We'll continue with overland travel week 2, and no, I guess that's it. That's it for everything. The recap. So let me go do a refill. We'll jump back in. We'll get back into it. This first node is going to be a combat encounter, a potential combat encounter. So we'll have to figure out what that's going to be. But let me go do that. Let me go get that refill, and I'll be back in just a minute. You guys hold tight, and we'll get started in earnest. Week 2, continuing the journey, getting the heck out of Carjuntan, getting back to Split Valley Oasis. Gonna find some sanctuary, gonna be safe, gonna figure out this plot, and deal with all the people who are not happy with us, hopefully, and try to unravel that mystery and make sense of it. But I'll be back in just a minute, guys. All right? So, bye. Okay, so we're jumping back into it right first thing. So we're setting back on the road, and we know that there's going to be sort of a potential combat encounter right out the gate. So let's go ahead and we got that DC 13. Let's see. So we're going to give Leah advantage on her perception check to see if she checks it out earlier. She only has a +1, but she's going to get advantage because she has a whole bunch of people there. Okay, good. So So we're not going to be surprised by this encounter. And, but we do need to figure out who this is. So who do we think? So we are definitely in sort of the frontier area. So let me just give that, let me give that a little check. Okay. Ooh, 6. That means it's something weird again. Very interesting. Alright. Well, we've got, we can figure out what that is. Oop, that's the wrong thing. Here we go. We got 4 people, we're level 3, right? We'll check that. Yes. Alright, so we've got 4 level 3 combatants. And we want a hard encounter, and we want some, let's get some creature types in here. So they could be, these are weirds, they could be aberrations, celestials, fays, they could be fiends. And what else could they be? Is that it? I believe I put ooze under there as well. I can't remember because I remember I went back and switched it because I had an issue when I first came up with that sort of rubric. And I know obviously you guys can't see it, but trying to determine whether threats are natural, artificial, or weird. Okay, no, it's just 4. I left ooze. And anyways, for that moment, I had ooze is sort of a weird thing in D&D because by their nature, they are both man-made, made by wizards, and also they can just show up as aberrants from other planes, so they're extraplanar creatures as well. So I had them on both lists, but what that ended up meaning is that I just ended up with a whole bunch of way more ooze encounters than made sense. But let's roll a d20, and that'll tell us what kind here. Oop, I rolled a 1, which means it's an aberration. Okay. So it's being an aberration. I mean, we could run into another pack of gazers. That would be, or parts of the same pack of gazers. That would be interesting, to say the least. But it could happen. That could be what happens. Let's find out, though. Let's, a random encounter here. Intellect devours, I don't think makes sense. I'm trying to remember what burbling is off the top of my head. I thought burblings were devils. Oh, no. It's just because they kind of look like devils, that's why. Or fiends. Okay, we'll put that as a strong maybe. Sort of burblings. What else we got? Let's get another one. Yeah, we could get some more gazers. I don't know why those would be working together though. Let's do one more, just in case. Star spawn grew. Yeah, let's do the star spawn grew. That'll be interesting, I think. Let's do these guys. Now, why are these guys out here? We have no idea. But let's do the grew. And I think these make sense to just kind of be here by themselves. Let's go all the way up to, so basically one of the things I do is I'll go all the way up to find out what sort of like the cap end of hard is for CR, which is about 10. And then I will roll some dice to try to determine how many show up. Since we have 10, let's roll a d4 and a d6, so that way we don't end up with 1. We're more likely to kind of hit in the middle there. Okay, 9. So it's still going to be a pretty tough encounter. So we're going to run into 9 of these star spawn grew, but they are not particularly difficult. Alright, well, we're going to put them down here. They have 7. Yeah, 17 hit points, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's quite a few of them. And they would be going on 11. So again, I just take 10 for their initiative, add their dexterity to it, makes it easier to run the monsters for the sort of solo rather than sitting here and trying to roll dice for 9 specific enemy creatures that are all the same. And so the question that I really have is how much I don't want to say that. How what is the distance at which we pick these up? So we know that she picked it up. So well, I'll just roll the 2d6 for sort of like encounter starting distance. Oh, so they're close. Okay. They're only like 30 feet away, so we sort of like come over a rise, or they're hiding in sort of like some brush, and we pick them up, but we're like right on top of them when we do it. But we are going to get sort of. I guess I should check to see are they surprised? Do they perceive? No, they don't. Okay, so we've got an opportunity to surprise them. We rolled up right on top of them. I don't think. I mean, I'm looking at these creatures, and I'm imagining Leah in that situation, looking at these Darkstone's Grew. They don't look nice. They don't look like they're the sort of creature that you try to parlay with, honestly, or you just leave alone. So I think we're just gonna go straight into the combat. I feel like I think that just makes sense. I don't think they'd even try to talk to these things. You look at something like that and you're like, oh, that's not natural. That's not a person. And it shouldn't be here. So let's roll for Leah. Okay, so Leah will go up here. So we've got Leah up here. Ott is down there. So, Inbar will be after Leah. And I'm going to let them get the surprise round, basically. And Delg. Delg, you stay right where you are. You're doing great, buddy. Delg, of course, not really a combatant, if you've been watching. He's a barber surgeon by trade. He's not really a fighter. He's more of a healer. But I am keeping him in sort of here just so we sort of have somebody who can heal the party in combat, because he does have the sort of healer feat in the healer kit. But with that being said, if you're going to allow him to heal somebody in combat, you also have to allow him to be attacked in combat. That's just sort of my feelings about it. So he is an active participant, so that's why he's here. But they are going to get the surprise round, so they are going to get to go first before anybody else goes. And Leah's up first, so let's see Leah, what's she going to do? Again, we're 30 feet away from them. They're sort of, let's see, are they in... I'm thinking that it's sort of open plains ground, so maybe not a copse of trees. Well, is it a copse of trees? Let's just ask. Yes, okay. So they rolled up on the copse of trees, and maybe they're looking for some forage or something like that. Just see what's there. Maybe see if there's some water to sort of refill their water skins, that sort of thing. So they're just kind of rolling up to it, and then realize, oh, there's like a bunch of creatures in here. A bunch of really nasty looking creatures. So let's do that. Alright, what is she going to do right off the bat? It wouldn't make sense to maybe just... well, here, let me ask this question. Are they going to have cover? Because they're in these trees. Yeah. Alright, so they have cover. So I think she is going to... How many charges does she have on this thing? On her magic missile set? Oh, she's only got one charge on it right now. No, she should... It's another day. She should have certainly more than one charge. So it's full. Okay. And I believe it has 6 charges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 3 charges to cast a 3rd level magic missile at one of them, which will do 4, 5, 6, d4 plus 6. Okay, plus 6. So that will, in fact, be enough to kill one of them. So she just raises up her magic missile wand and points it, and bam! Magic missile doesn't care about cover, so it just sifts through the trees and hits one of those star spawning grooves and just obliterates it in one shot. Perfect. I mean, you can't really ask for more than that. Let me make a note. Where is her? I really should have done that. I should have transferred that to her character sheet. Let me actually, I'm going to add that to do. So there was a to do. I just didn't think about that. All right. Usually I don't add over the treasure until we reach some sort of safety place, but she is using the wand, so I should have added it. To Leah's equipment. And so now it's got half its charges. Of course, it regains, I think, 1d4 every day. So, alright, well, that was her turn. I think she's going to stand there. She doesn't really need to move. So that brings us up to... Hold on, let me jump down. Imbar. Does Imbar run in? Well, we did say that these things have cover, but she does have advantage. She can run in, but she's not going to get gang up. So I think she's going to use her bow for right now. And then once these things probably get flush and come out of the tree, she'll probably switch over when she can get that gang up. So yeah, she's going to grab her bow, knock an arrow, and pull it to her cheek and release on these unsuspecting creatures. I think that 11 will still hit, though. Because she has... Yeah, right on the nose. So 1d8 plus 2. On the second one, she knocks that arrow and pulls it back and hits it for 8. Which leaves this one with 9 hit points. Alright, so that's what she does. I don't think she gets a second attack at this level. I think she needs to go up first before she gets that. Yeah. So she just has the one attack right now. I think either level 4 or level 5, the sidekick warrior gets their second attack. But she's not there yet. Alright, well that's that. And then we're going to skip grooves because it's sort of the surprise area. We're going to jump down to Ott. Ott will also use her bow. She does have multi-attack though. So the first attack... that for sure will hit. And the second attack is probably going to miss. No, wait. No, their AC is like 11, right? I keep getting their hit points and armor class mixed up. No, their AC is 11. Yeah, so she definitely hits with the... no, she rolled a 6, right? Dang, she misses it by 1. Alright, but she hits with one of them. So she'll also get that 1d8 plus 2. And in fact, let me... No, I'm thinking about it. Let me go ahead and move over here and do this. Boop. Right, go. Get a little bit more. Some music that better fits what we're doing. Alright, okay, I roll my d8. Okay, so 6 points of damage to that one. It's still up, though. Ugh. It's still up with 3 hit points. Then we'll go to Delg. Delg, of course, hits a sling. He will sling at that remaining one. He's going to hit that last one and hopefully kill it. He does not, though. He doesn't have any bonus damage. So he doesn't get it. Alright, well, back to the top. Of course, now the Star Spawn Gru are turned around there. And they're going to flush out and they're going to try to swarm over the defenders, and then if they can get over the defenders, they're gonna try to eat everybody else. But let me make sure the Star Spawn Gru, they have resistance or immunity to psychic damage. attacks on creatures other than a spark one. Okay, so that's actually not going to be important for this fight. The Aura of Madness. They have disadvantage on saving throws, though. Alright, that confounding bite. Oh, that's actually not good. We don't want that. Alright, we need to take these things out. It's Leah's turn. It's back up at the top. Leah, she gets her magic missile. These things have not flushed out yet. I think this time she's going to cast magic missile. And she's going to do that at second level. She's going to cast a magic missile, and she's going to... So she's going to get 4 missiles. She's going to shoot one at that one that's almost dead. Okay, so she's going to kill that one. Good. Get that one off the books. And then she's got 3 more. They're going to go against that other group. So 3d4 plus 3. She goes pop, pop, pop. For 10 points of damage. It's a good hit. And this one's down to 7 hit points. Perfect. And let's go. Should we want to do anything else? I don't think so. I don't think so at this point. Oh, it is play. I think it's very quiet. Let's see. So it's Imbar. They still haven't come in, though. I think she's going to sidle up to Ott. She's going to drop her bow, sidle up to Ott, and pull out her hammer. And she is going to hold an action to attack as soon as one of them comes into melee range. So that way she can get that extra attack in. So that way we can try to kill at least one real quick. So that's what Imbar's going to do. Alright, the Grue Swarm. So we've got 4 commands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll do 2 on Leah, 2 on Imbar, 2 on Ott, and 1 on Del. So let's deal with Imbar's real fast, and well, let's do Leah first. So they're gonna be, because the first 2 are gonna go after Leah. So the Grue are gonna come in. They are. One's gonna get a straight attack, and then the other one's gonna get advantage for getting up. Ooh, not good. Well, the crit's definitely going to hit her. So that's actually... So she'll take 11 points of damage. Which is not good. That's like half her health. Right? Did I do that right? Yeah. 11 points of damage, and she needs to make a wisdom saving throw, which now she has disadvantage on. Well, and she's not good at them anyways. Attack rolls against it have advantage until the start of the group's next turn. Doesn't really matter because one's coming up with advantage anyways. I think that one will also hit 16. I think hits her. It sure does. For another 2d4 plus 1. So, ooh, this is turning real south real quick. For another 6 points of damage. Okay, Leah in real bad situation right off the bat. Okay. So not great. We said the next ones were going after Ott, right? Isn't that who we said? No, Imbar. Alright, so Imbar is going to get that... This next set's going to come up against Imbar. And she is going to get that smack off on one of them, and she's next to her friend, so she's going to get advantage and that extra attack damage. She will hit, which gives her a d8, a 2d6. 14 plus... How much extra damage? 15, 16. Dang, really? Oh, just shy of knocking that one out. Just straight out of here. All right. But she knocks it down to 1 hit point. So unfortunately, it will get its attack off. So the first one's going to get its attack off on her. which I believe Imbar has a 68. No, okay, well, she pulled her shield out now. So no, that first one misses. And then, let's see, after that, we're going to have, definitely going to get hit again. Alright, well, they're going to get, she's going to get hit twice then. So she'll take 12 points of damage. Not great. Not great at all. And she needs to make that wisdom saving throw. Twice, actually. And actually, no, she would have disadvantage on it. So I'm pretty sure that's a fail. It's not really going to matter. She's going to have disadvantage anyways. Or she won't have to. Is this a world building stream? No, not this stream. This stream is unfortunately not a world building stream. We do plenty of that. We do that region hex mapping stuff. But today we're continuing on with our solo RPG. So we're doing just me playing by myself. We're playing some D&D. So not a world building stream this time, but check back in. We do them pretty regularly. So if this isn't your cup of tea, totally understand. Love to have you stick around, but if not, make sure to check it out or some of the other videos we have, or check out the blog where we talk about a lot more world building stuff. Well, thanks. I think it's fun. So thanks for sticking around. So yeah, we're gonna jump back in, and all right, that was those were the grooves on Imbar. We have the grooves on Ott. Ooh. All right, well that's definitely gonna hit Ott, and the second one's gonna have advantage when they come in to hit her, and also hit her. All right, so she's gonna get again the +2. Oh, rolled low though, so she's only gonna take 9 points of damage, which is good. So that's actually, so she's in the best shape right now. And yeah, okay, she fails. She fails that save. Again, the saves aren't really going to make too much because everybody's got gang up, everybody's getting flanked, so it's not really going to make that big of a difference. And then we have one that's coming on Delg, so this is the only one that would just attack him straight up. That will probably hit Delg. It does. Will Delg save? He does not. Okay. So those creatures will still be able to attack Delg. Alright, round 2. Not great. Group's getting waylaid really hard. We got the drop on those group, but once we flush them out of that copse of trees, they're on top of us, and they are things are not going well. But that brings, oh sorry, we're in the middle of the round. We're at the end. That brings us to Ott. Ott's going to drop her bow, obviously, now that she has all these grue in her face. And she's going to pull out her spear, and she's going to make a couple of attacks with her spear. Now, she has advantage because she's attacking the person right next to her. I think that will hit. No, that actually doesn't hit. Dang. But she has a second attack. That one, however, will hit. 1d8 plus 2 for a whopping 3 points of damage. Really great job. Those are the ones that are on Imbar, so she's attacking this one. So, yeah, unfortunately, I should put some space in here. Let me just put like a little period, just so I can keep it straight. Who's attacking who here? And oh, right, because Leah killed one. That's right. So Leah's only got the one on her right now. Yeah. All right. Dang. I was really hoping Ott would be able to pull off a kill and be able to get her bite attack off as then big nasty Knoll, but it doesn't always work out. Delg is going to, well, Delg's got a, ooh, but Delg can disengage. Delg is going to disengage and combat roll over to Leah, and he's going to use his healer and try to bandage her up real quick. So she's going to try to get a d6 plus 2, because she is in, if you ever play Legend of Zelda, when you get down in hell, she's like, diddy, 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 diddy. Yeah, she's got 3 hit points. Max. Love it. +7, right? Hold on. Doug, where are we at? So we get a d6 +7. Okay, yeah. So 13 points for Leah, which literally brings her back up to full. But she's gotten that healing and she can't get it again. So that's not great. So that's one of the things that's really just been a really just thorn in our side this entire game, is that we do not have any divine magic. We don't have any healing magic. It's tough, but that's the party we got. We haven't come across anybody who can do that, and if we had, we certainly haven't been able to convince them to hang out with us. Leah being the murderer she is. But that's Delg's turn. Does Delg have anything? No, he did a bonus action. He moved. Because he disengaged, he moved, and he did his healing action. So he's done. That brings us back to the top. Now it's our third round with Leah in command. Ooh, not in the great spot. Still got one of these things on top of her. And wait, she has disadvantage? No, attacks that are not grew. Okay. So we're good. But it's right up in her face. What is she gonna do? She could try to cast. She could try to. Casting's not great. I mean, she could use her staff. But her staff's not gonna knock this thing out. But I mean, it could. I think she's going to command Igni. That's what she'll do as her bonus action, to try to get her little method fire familiar to breathe its fire, and of course try not to hit anybody. So we'll do that right after she finishes her turn. Yeah, she'll swing her quarterstaff, hoping that the combination of those two things together will hopefully kill. Hopefully. We hope. So let me do that. So let's make an attack roll for her. Does she have advantage? I don't think she has advantage on this. That may hit. No, it's a 10. Dang. Come on. Would she have advantage? No, she didn't really move next to anybody. So I don't think she has advantage. Really only Imbar and Odd are together. Oh, no, she's got... Delg just moved right next to her. Delg just moved right next to her. So she does have advantage. Yeah. Alright. So she is going to get that quarterstaff off. And she's going to do 6 points of damage. That'll be enough to get this down to 1. Then Igni's going to puff up his cheeks, that little method, and turn sort of like that bright orange as he breathes fire. How many of these guys is he going to get? So he's definitely going to get the one in front of her. Can he get any of the ones, anybody else in the thing? Yes, okay. Can she get 2 more? Yeah, okay. So yeah, we'll just take it down the line. And I believe his fire breath does 50-foot cone, dex save 11, or 2d6 fire. Alright, well 2 of those are smoked anyways because they only got 1 hit point. So we really only need to do the dex save for that 1. It needs to beat a... What did I say? 11? Alright, so it beats that. I forgot the damage I rolled, so I'm just going to roll again. 6. Alright, so this one will take 3 points of damage. Fire damage. And that is it for her. That's Imbar. Imbar now only has the 1 on her. So she's next to us. She's going to try to smash that one. She will be successful. That's 6. What was her bonus? 4? 2. Trying to give her extra damage that she doesn't get. But only 8 points of damage. Nah, that's really not that great. Did not roll particularly well, did we? 8 minus 14 is what? That's 6, right? Alright, yeah, that's it for her. Alright, so we have the Gru. Now, the Groot at this point have reached half of them. So now we got to start doing morale rolls. What's the morale for these guys? To see if they're going to cut and run. They've got a pretty low charisma. So we're doing roll under for the morale check. So we're in D20 roll. They got to roll 6 or under because that's their charisma. Alright, so this first one. Alright, that first one's going to run. The second one. That one's going to run. The third one. Also going to run. And the last one. Oh, the last one actually stays in the fight. Interesting. That's the one that's currently not engaged with anybody. Okay, so they're going to run. Are they going to run or are they going to disengage? I mean, they're not super smart. So let me just ask. I'll just roll. Let's use the same roll under. To see if they disengage. Alright, so the first one disengages. Second one does not. The third one's not. Alright, so this first one, the one with 6 hit points left, will disengage. And move out. These other two are not. Inbar's going to be able to attack at least one of them. Because those are the ones that are on Ott. And then Ott will attack one. So Inbar will make a slap at him. Opportunity attack. We'll hit it. It still has gang up, so we'll still get all the extra. So, ooh, yeah. So 12, 13, 14. So 14 points of damage. I'll assume then we'll just say it's this one. And let's say that Ott goes after the same one. Hits it. Hopefully should be, actually can't not kill it with 3 points of damage. That one, and then that 14 one gets off scot-free without any opportunity attacks. And then the last one is still going to move in. It's got 4 targets to choose from. Ott would probably be the closest. But I'm just going to leave it up to chance. No, it really wants Delg. So it goes after Delg and tries to jump on Delg. And well, that'll hit him right on the die, so. Alright, so he'll take 5 points of damage, and he needs to make a wisdom saving throw, which he'll pass. Okay. And we said he's going to take 5 points of damage, right? So Delg's actually okay, because he actually has a con modifier. So that's 18. Alright, so that's actually good. And what else am I thinking of? Oh. So we've got the one that's still in the fight, 2 that are running away. It is Ott's turn now. And Ott's still, we've got the one on Delg. Is she going to go after the one on Delg, or is she going to... Well, she dropped her bow. So probably deal with the one that's on Delg first, and that one hasn't been attacked. So she's going to move over there and try to give it a little poke with the spear. Only got to hit 11, so probably going to hit. And she does have advantage. Alright, she definitely hits. 1d8 plus 2. So 6 points of damage. As she sort of comes into flank at that thing, and they're just going to kind of surround this one. Delg's there. Delg's going to probably drop his sling and pull his dagger. And crit, okay. Suddenly, Delg decides to show up for combat once in a while. Yeah, I mean, 3 points of damage. He doesn't do a ton of damage to it, but, you know, at least he gets it. So, that one's down to 8 points. And we are back up at the top. Is Leah technically next to this thing? Yes, okay. Then she's going to swing her staff at it. Rather than cast. She'll hit. 1d8 plus 1? 3 points of damage. Right, melee, not these characters. Strong suit. Yeah, that's all she can do on her turn. Igni... I can do his recharge. Let's see if he recharges. I'm not going to use it, though. He doesn't recharge anyways. And I don't think he needs to claw rake. So he'll hang out and drift out of combat so he doesn't get swiped at. And sort of fly up with his little mephit wings. Imbar's right there. She's gonna move over there and try to crush this thing. I believe that still hits. I think she has a +6. She does. Just barely, but she does hit. Oh yeah. But she turns that one into paste as she smashes its head in. Actually, this one. Smashes its head in. The other two run. Continue to run. So they're going to do a full dash action, which puts them at like 90 feet away now. Ott will pick her bow back up, I guess, and just take a shot. I mean, they're still within range of those longbows, so she'll take a shot at the most wounded one. That will hit. She also has +6. You get +2. 3 points of damage. Okay. Oh, 3. Delg. I think 90 feet is just within the long reach of the sling. I think the sling goes up to 120. But so he can roll, but it's with disadvantage. But it doesn't matter because he rolled well. And hopefully this will be enough to kill it. That would be really nice. Nice capstone for Delg. But of course he won't. So he just whacks it for 1 hit point. Because, again, not really a combatant character. And back at the top, they're sort of flowing out of range. Leah will try to capstone that last one with a firebolt. Yeah, that should do it. Hopefully. Yeah. Knocks that one out. Imbar can pick up her bow and take a shot, but I don't think it's really going to matter at this point. In fact, I'm going to have her not do that, because I don't want to roll for her ammo, for her arrows. Because she's only fired 1 arrow, and the way that I usually run that with the supply die, rather than, ticking actual arrows off, we roll a die, and so the idea, and this is actually something I stole from old Gamma World, which is a sort of post-apocalyptic mutant thing that TSR and WotC used to publish. It's not D&D, but it's very similar to D&D. They have this thing that's called conserving ammo, and so if you only fire 1 shot, then you're considered to be conserving ammo, so you don't have to worry about losing your ammo. So I'm not going to have her fire it because she only fired 1 arrow. And we're just going to let that one run into the distance. And we'll consider that combat done. Bad guys. Alright, let's put that in there for now. So we'll bring that combat to a close. Alright, how's everybody looking? So Leah looks fine, except that she's been healed now. Ott could use a little TLC, but she's only down 7. I think they'll take a small break here and they'll spend some hit dice instead. So let's do that for her. So she gets a D8 plus 1. Six points. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't quite get her back up to full, but much better than where she was. And we'll just mark off the hit die for her. Imbar got hit pretty hard. She gets to do D8s as well. Plus 1. Alright, so she's probably going to spend 2 at least. Ugh, and not roll well. Alright, so 6. That would put her at 23. That's spending 2. Do we want to spend more than that? It's nice to have some in reserve, but also if we get into any trouble... You know what? We're gonna roll the dice. We're just gonna try to keep it on. Keep going. Delg's alright. He'll spend a hit die. He's down 5. Yeah, alright. So Delg's fine. He heals himself back up. Because I don't want to use that healing if I can avoid it. Use his thing if we can avoid it. But we did use his healer kit, so we do need to check it. Okay, so his healer kit's fine. We need to check Ott's arrows. How many arrows does Ott have right now? She has D4. Okay, her arrows are fine. We didn't use anything else, I don't think. Zimbar only used the one arrow, because she doesn't have multi-attack. So she's fine. That's the one problem with Ott as an archer having multi-attack, is that she's always going to hit those 2 arrows in her first attack, which means she's just constantly just chewing through arrows, an arrow supply, because she's just shooting them, so many of them. Alright, well, that's where we are. So that's, I guess we could check for treasure. I'm gonna think that most of these creatures probably don't have treasure on them. So 2 got away, so that leaves us with 7 bodies. So do we find... I'm just gonna roll... I think it's extremely unlikely that these creatures have anything on them. They seem pretty... relatively mindless. I mean, they don't wear clothes, they don't have gear. So I'm just gonna roll... I'm gonna roll 7d20, and each of them a -5 to see, does this creature have any treasure on them? Okay, so, nope. 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 But 2 of them have some sort of... So we find 2 little bits of treasure. So let's do some random rolls. I'll use my handy-dandy DM binder. And again, I have these sort of minor magic treasures. These minor treasures in here that we can jump through real quick. We found a pair of shoes worth about 7 silver on one of them. I guess I'll put that under here. I don't know if we care about that, but so we're gonna put that. That was the Star Spawn grew. We had 9 of them, and on top of that we found shoes, some nice boots, I guess, and then we have 1 more little treasure to roll for. Yeah, it's like scraps of a chicken, like part of a dead chicken. Not really worth keeping around, so I'm not gonna count that as treasure, because I think chicken by itself is only worth silver. And it's been attacked, and nobody's gonna want to eat that, so we're just gonna leave that where it is. So we found some shoes. They're not particularly useful. Does anybody in the party want the shoes? We could. It might be too big for the kobold. Are they small sized? Let's just ask. They are. Okay. We present it to the kobold's dragon shield for him to wear whenever we see him next, and I'll just put that in here. We're gonna gift it to Ironfire's dragon shield. So we're kidding out his personal retinue, I guess. Alright, we do need to make our con save. We do have advantage because we have an animal with us. We have our mule with us. Okay, so we do pass. Alright, so we don't have to worry about getting exhausted as we're traveling, so we're doing good there. We need a supply check. What's our supplies looking like? Alright, D8s. So for the feed, how are we on the feed? Good. How are we for the rations? Good. Okay. So again, with the supply die, whenever I roll the die, it doesn't really matter unless I roll a 1, then it does matter. So we didn't roll 1s, so everything on our supply die looks good, which makes sense. We just replenished our feed and rations from the destroyed wagon caravan that we found at the end of the last session. And we need to make a random encounter roll as we're moving through here. No random encounter. Okay. Well, that was unexpected. But it's also the second round of weird aberrants that we found just sort of across the countryside. So maybe that's tied to something, maybe not. We're not really interested in investigating that right now, but it is something that we should keep in mind. These weird things. Now, we are in sort of like the marches, so we are in sort of the frontier between this. This is sort of like where civilization and the wilderness start to sort of overlap. It's very frontier style. And because of that, there's sort of like the way that I balance it is there's sort of an equal balance of you might run into artificial things, which means like people, civilized people, so bandits, knights, sellswords, mercenaries, etc. Knights, those sorts of things. But there's also an equal amount that you're just going to run into wild animals, whether that's wolves or bears or moose or a giant eagle or something like that. As well as an equal opportunity that we're going to run across something like a fae or some sort of celestial. We might run across a unicorn, might run across some sort of dryads, might run across fairies, might run across some sort of devils or demons, or like this, we've run across the gazers, we've run across the Starspawn group. When you start getting, the further away you get from civilization, the way that I balance that for the world building is the more likely you're going to run into weird stuff. Because there's just pockets of weird stuff that just sort of roam the like untouched darkness of the wilderness. And the places where man does not tread, where sort of civilization, as it's constructed, kind of pushes those things away, pushes those natural and paranormal things sort of away from it. Besides paranormal, by that I mean extraplanar. There are sort of things like zombies and ghosts and things like that that are almost more likely to show up in civilization than they will in sort of the middle of nowhere. Alright, well that's our first scene done. Took a little bit longer than I wanted to, but when you run a big combat like that, it's going to take a little bit longer. Still not too bad. I think we did, what, 5 combat rounds? That's a little long, but not too bad. Luckily we didn't try to do any psychic damage or anything like that, so we don't have to worry about that. We are up to our next one, so we're going to find some sort of scenic vista. Again, what is this going to be? 5, okay. And do we spot it? Let's go. So we got advantage. We do, alright. Alright, what sort of scenic vista, like what sort of just wonder do we come across that we see? It's got to be something, so it's something weird. We could roll our d20 to figure out its sort of origin. That's a fiend, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, 16 plus is fiend. Alright, so it's some sort of a devil, demonic, fiendish inspired thing, but it is it's not an encounter, it's just something that we see across the way. Maybe some sort of eruption. It could be an animal, it could be a mineral, it could be flora. Let's do that. Is it animal, mineral, vegetable? Mineral, okay. So I'm thinking some sort of like crag of infused obsidian that's just sort of jutting out of the ground. So in general, we're running across a relatively plains area, big sort of like flat grasslands area for the most part. I mean, there's some rises and dips, there's some trees in places, and some places where there's just kind of scrub light as well. But in general, it's just sort of a rolling grasslands. And then in the middle of that, there's just this jutting artifice of just jet black obsidian glass that's just sort of dripping with this fiendish energy, this sort of place where, you know, maybe the veil is very thin between the prime material plane and, you know, the hells and abyss, you know, the lower chaotic planes, and we have this jutting thing, and I think they take a moment to just sort of take it in, be like, huh, that's what. Now, I will ask the question, have we seen this before? I think that's probably almost guaranteed, but... So, a spire of jet, let's say fiendish. Obsidian piercing from the ground. Sort of things. So, yeah, we were going to ask the question, have they seen this before? Now, we do know that Ott and Leah have traveled back and forth between Carjunta and Split Valley Oasis multiple times, so I think it's extremely likely. I don't think this is something that's just showed up. It's probably a landmark for their journey to let them know, hey, you're about, and 2/3 of the way through of your journey. Okay, yeah. So they have seen this before. Right, so this is not a new thing. So they just kind of take time. They take a break there. It's relatively safe. Let's ask a question. Are there any other travelers here? No. Okay, so we seem to be the only people here. And that's probably the spot where they break in the shade of it and take some lunch and water the animals, do that sort of thing. Let's check our con save. Again, we still have advantage. Oh, but we failed. All right, we failed our con save, which means we need to take a camp day. So we're gonna have to take a camp day. Do we want to camp here? I mean, it's a pretty good landmark. It's well known. Do they want to camp here? I think probably yes, +3. No, okay. So they decide, like I said, they broke for lunch, so they move on. But people are starting to get a little tired, and we're like, all right, well, maybe we'll take a day. We've been on the road for a few days, so maybe we take another one. Because I think at this point they've probably been on the road about a week since about a week since their last time. Actually, probably even more than that. So yeah, we'll put that down here. So they failed because they get that exhaustion 1, which is particularly bad for overland travel because we're likely to do more skill checks in this sort of progress of the game. So kind of want to take that camp day so we don't have disadvantage on them. So we'll do that. Everybody at this point will probably be back up to full health, just because they will have taken some nightly rest. So they take that. So let's roll the supply die, and we'll actually roll it twice because I'm going to end up having to, since we're going to do the camp day. So feed, fine. Rations. Rations went down. Okay. So we rolled that 1. So like I said earlier, so when that happens, our rations go down from a D8 to a D6. Then it goes down to a D4. Then if you roll a 1 on the D4, that means you have like 1 day of rations left, or 1 node of rations left in this case. And at that point, you're going to be out of food. Alright, so that's going to happen after the camp day. We haven't got any combat, so we don't have to worry about any ammunition or anything like that, so we're good there. But we do have to do a random encounter roll while we're doing the camp day. Now, the problem about camp day is that if we were running with a group, it would make more sense because I didn't make everybody individually do those con saves. And so you'll have opportunities where you're in something like a camp day, where maybe only one or two people have exhaustion, so they're the ones who are resting. That gives, anybody else in the party, they have a full day to do. They can go out and forage, they can do sort of downtime activities. If they have like crafting or repair or study things they want to do that they can do in camp, or if you have that sort of instance where you have 2 characters that are trying to teach each other languages or things like that, trying to teach each other skills, do that sort of proficiency bonus training. That's a really good opportunity to do that just while you're on the road, to try to bring in some of that downtime activity, as long as it's not something that's like, they can't do things like obviously run a business or do anything that requires them to have like a workshop or something like that. Like, it's the only things that they have with the gear that they have on them, but there's still plenty of time to do that. And so it feels like there's still stuff for people to do, and then they can take care of those stuff while the people who are resting have to rest. The only other way to get around that I do with the system is that if you have, like, let's say 1 person who is exhausted and everybody else wants to like continue moving, is that you can have, if you have like a wagon, you can have that person take rest in the wagon all day instead of walking, and that will also count for them for resting. But that means they can't jump out and do, if they do other stuff, like if they jump out to explore something or things like that, they're going to lose that long rest. They have to kind of do nothing that entire day. But, that's just how I run it. I think it works pretty well. pretty enjoyable. It feels a little bit more, adds a little bit more meat to the bones of overland travel, which I like, and kind of makes it its own sort of thing. Not just necessarily like, I like the node-based system because it kind of sits in between being like, you have to roll for everything all the time, and completely hand-waving travel. So it'd be like, yeah, you have to pay attention to things like your supplies and things like that, and if you get too tired, you have to take a rest. That means that you're on the road for longer, so it can kind of push you. So if you have a really strict time frame, you know, that's when you start being like, well, we're going to take the levels of exhaustion, just kind of keep pushing, because we're trying to make it to a specific destination in a specific time frame. Which kind of gives you choice, right? Which is what we're trying to implement. Choice and resource management. Try to do that things. Try to make this aspect of the game feel like, add some more stuff to that game, because D&D raw, just as it's built out of the box, doesn't really give us a lot of tools to make exploration and overland travel particularly interesting. So I just sort of add these in here to just have my own, created basically my own system to just try to make it more interesting, right? Rather than just be like, roll for a random encounter, no random encounter, or, you know, running into bandits every time you travel the road, which is also not particularly interesting. So that's our camp day. We did our supply day checks. We do need to roll for a random encounter, though. So we roll the d12. Something happens on a 1 or a 12. Depending on what that is. 1's a combat encounter, like we're going to get attacked. 12 means that there's some sort of dressing, some sort of scene that happens. Technically, we should roll 2. So we should roll 1 for the travel day, and then we should roll 1 for the camp day. Okay, didn't matter. Perfect. So we get that done. We got our scenic vista. We didn't run into anybody there, which is fine. But there is always the option that we might run into travelers or something while we're there. Because again, we're kind of going across a pretty well-traveled road. But at least nobody notable that was worth talking to. Just pleasantries, I guess. Small talk, that sort of thing, if we came across anybody. Alright, we're on to our third node. So our third node is we're going to find some sort of supplies. So what supplies are we in need of? I guess food, right? We're going to find some rations, because that's the thing that we just lost in, because we're full up on everything else. I guess arrows. We could find some arrows. That would be nice. So let's ask the Oracle. Well, first we got to do the DC. Do we even find the supplies? It doesn't matter, because we didn't find the supplies. Alright. So we didn't find the supplies. That's unfortunate. That's the problem with having a main character that's got a negative wisdom score. Even with advantage, you're still going to miss stuff. But, yeah, that's how it goes. Alright, but we do need to make the con save. Hey, good thing we had that advantage, natural 20, because that was DC's kind of high. Alright, so a little tiring throughout the day, but then they kind of pushed through it and kind of probably had to go up an incline or something like that, or maybe the wagon gets stuck in a rut or something like that. They have to, or, you know, a wheel breaks and they have to fix it, something like that. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but then once they get going again, everything smooth sailing for the rest of those next couple of days. We do need to make a supply die check. So for our feed is good, and our rations. Okay, so we're quickly running out of rations. Down to a D4. So what happens if we run out of rations? Well, if we run out of rations, that means that we're basically going to have to take a camp day. But instead of resting, we'll spend the entire day basically foraging and hunting and trying to find food. Okay, but we did that. Now, we still have the chance, as we're traveling, to come across some sort of random encounter. We do not. Alright. And now we're coming to the last check before we hit Split Valley Oasis. Alright, so here's the situation. There's a potential here, even though we have a guide with us. Which is why we're going to get advantage on this roll. If we didn't have the guide with us, we wouldn't get advantage. But we do have Ott with us. She is literally a guide. That is what Leah has hired her to do, there is the possibility that we get lost. Which is actually, so this is just sort of an interesting aside, historical aside. And sometimes I see this misrepresented in things like D&D and other tabletop RPGs. And as somebody who's had this experience, it's not fun. Think of the ocean. Like, it's relatively easy to get lost on the ocean because you have to be able to navigate by the sun and stars, right? You don't have landmarks. There's no mountains. There's no streams. There's no forest. No thing. Well, that's basically the same thing that happens in any sort of grasslands area. Is that if you are on a featureless plane, it's really hard to make sure that you keep going in the same direction. And which is weird because often a lot of tabletop RPGs, they often say that they'll often, if you have like DCs for like survival or travel or things like that, or to avoid getting lost, the planes are usually what they list as one of the easiest areas to navigate, which is not true. As somebody who grew up in the sort of like Great Plains area of the U.S., incredibly easy to get lost if you don't have any landmarks. You'll get turned around very easily if you're not paying attention. So, yeah. Having the guide with us is extremely helpful. That's why we have things like the landmark, like the spire, right? That obsidian spire. Like, that's very helpful because now that gives us a landmark and tells us kind of where we are, which is incredibly helpful to not getting lost. But we do have our guide, so we're going to get bonus. This should be a survival check. We're going to be fine, though. Even though Leah's not trained in survival, she is getting the advantage. And so she's going to get the 19. We only need to hit a 14. Even with her -1, it's still an 18. Alright, so we don't have to worry about getting lost. Alright, so there was a moment that we almost got turned around, and then Ott sort of helped point things out. We probably took an hour, took a stick or a stake or drove it into the ground and took an hour or two to wait for the sun to pass. That way we could reorient using the shadow so we know the cardinal directions and we know where we're going. So we set that all, and then we're able to keep traveling in that direction until we find a landmark and get back on track. So we did not get lost, but we did what we needed to do to ensure that we did not get lost. So smart to keep Ott around. I mean, besides the fact that she's a relatively competent fighter, she is very useful, very ranger-like for these sort of overland travel, wilderness sort of exploration adventures. Alright, but we do need to make that con save. Again, we have animals carrying our gear, so we're good there. Good, because we needed it. Alright, so we passed the con save. So that's also another reason that, sort of with the system, like I want to encourage my players and their player characters to get animals to carry your stuff. You want to get a cart, you want to get porters, guides, those sorts of things to sort of keep these things from happening, these sort of real world. Again, just trying to put more meat on the bones when it comes to sort of like the exploration and overland travel in 5th edition D&D, because we really don't have very much, so we kind of have to invent it all from scratch, unfortunately. We need to do our applied item checks. Alright, well, we still have a D8 for feed. Feed's good. Alright, we have a D4 for rations, so this is a very important roll for us. So, hopefully, not a 1? That's a 1. We've rolled 3 1s in a row. Alright, we're out of food, man. Or almost out of food. Now, luckily, we're right at the end of the journey. So if you imagine that basically we figured out the perfect amount of food to take us on the journey. Because we're literally going to end the journey basically having 1 day of food left. So that means that we calculated our quartermaster was basically perfect. We carried specifically the right amount of rations and water to get us exactly where we needed to go without carrying a whole bunch of extra weight, but also ensuring that we were able to get there. So even though it seems a little nail-bitey, because it's not fun to run out of those sorts of supplies, it does mean that we basically did it perfectly. Now, once we get there, we're gonna have to buy some more food. But we do have that random encounter roll just to see if something happens before we get there. Nothing happens. So week 2 of our overland travel is complete. And we crest the hill of the scrub, and as we do, we look down below and we see the large trading post around the lake that is central to Split Valley Oasis, is the Oasis part. We see the familiar smokestacks. We see the people moving around, the tiny people moving around in the distance. And off across the lake, we can just make out the rice paddies over there. And a house rising up out of the marshes, a very palatial, colonial-style house that we know is Akari's plantation home. And our final destination. So we are within sight. And we will be arriving and jumping onto the next leg of our adventure, trying to figure out specifically, are we going to have a safe haven for us? Are we going to get answers about how to track these people down? Are we going to be able to find a home for Rhymefire? Those are all the questions that we have, and we're going to try to figure out. But before we jump into that, we've got a little bit of bookkeeping to do. We've got to do our calendar, fix that all up, do our weather. We'll get that set up, and then we'll try to figure out how we want to address the town, because we weren't sure. We talked about maybe going straight in. We talked about maybe skirting around, because, again, we don't know what's safe and what's not. But as far as we know, Akari is safe and in our debt. So that's who we're going to try to go to. But before we jump into that, I'm going to take a quick bio break, use the bathroom, get some more tea, etc., etc. Then we'll come back and we'll finish up the last little bit of this session, figure out what we're going to do next time, and that'll be it. So, you know, maybe we got the, kind of depending on how this goes, might take us another 30 minutes or so. We'll just kind of play it by ear. But let's find out. I'm so happy that we made it here on time. We're gonna do it. We're gonna jump into this next leg of the story. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are too. So I'm just gonna take that quick break, and we'll be back in just a second. All right, back. All right, let's go ahead and hop back in. All right. So we have reached the outskirts of Split Valley Oasis, which is exactly what we were trying to get to. Now we're here. So, put this up. So, for those of you wondering, here we are. So, we're coming from the east, so we're, you know, here-ish is about where we're at. So, we're on the road that's going to run us down into Split Valley Oasis. Now, Akari is over here. We can see him in sort of the marsh and rice paddies across the oasis. Some miles away across the water. So we come down out of sort of the mountainy areas into here. So, what do we want to do? We're going to take a little break probably at the crest of that hill and try to figure out how we're going to go in. So first we need to do is we need to update our calendar. And so we just spent 2 days, we spent 2 weeks and 2 camp days. Oh. So I think that's I'm reaching in the wrong place. So I've got, as part of my DM's guide, I do have a calendar, a world calendar, because there's a very specific calendar for this world. Which is important because it does not completely align to our own calendar. It is slightly different. It has the same amount of days, but they're organized differently. So we knew this was going to take us about 2 weeks and 2 extra days. So we started off on the 25th, Spring Crone. So that would take us to the 45th plus 2. So it is the 52nd Spring crown. Which is how many days? We're at 25, so that was I mean, it's literally 2 weeks. It's 14 days. 52. What is 14 days from April 29th? April's got 30 days in it. Yeah. So, 30th. Okay, so it's May 13th, approximately. It kind of gives you an idea in the real world kind of what time it is. So we are definitely, like I said, we're in spring crown, which means it's the end of the spring. We're getting ready to transition pretty quickly into summertime. So a spring crown, we can probably at this distance maybe tell what they're doing. Yeah. So at this point in time, just if you're wondering, I have also a agricultural chores by season. You can actually get this sheet specifically over at our store on DriveThruRPG. Which if you run a lot of tabletop RPG and you want that sort of verisimilitude about sort of like roughly medieval-esque anachronistic time period, I suggest go taking it out. If you ever wonder like what the common people are actually doing, well, I have it basically broken down by month, down to pretty much by week, the farming sort of schedule, if you ever want to know. So towards the end of the spring, in the fifth week of the spring crone, they are planting and pruning trees, and love is in the air, court love. So this is time when, spring is flourishing, very similar to very Easter kind of feelings, where people, right, has got this feeling of renewed love and people looking for new boyfriends, girlfriends, etc., love interests of all types. And you see that spring planting is done. That's all done. Getting ready, they're taking care of the trees, the fruit and seed trees, nut trees. They're taking care of those. But we're starting to enter the summer, and in the summer, there's not as many hard sort of field work to do for most of the commoners, so they'll be busy doing some other stuff during a lot of the summer, because you're kind of just waiting for plants to grow. Now, they do some weeding and picking stones and things like that, but in general, this is one of those really, really funny anachronistic things. If you live in the U.S., there's like basically this weird social lie that we have, where we have summertime off for school, and the idea was that came out of the farming community so kids could help around the farm. But the truth is that there's not that much to do on the farm during the summertime because you're waiting on the plants to grow. It's really the spring when you're planting, and obviously the fall when you're harvesting, that requires the most amount of labor. So in the summer, there's still stuff to do, but there's not as much stuff to do. So the reason that we don't, in the US, typically have school in the summer is because it was hot, and in the time before air conditioning, people didn't want to stuff a whole bunch of people in a small room together all day, because it was really hot. So a lot of people would actually, especially well-to-dos in the sort of urban environments, because cities get extremely hot, would take their kids out of school and go on vacation. That's when that very blue blood kind of Northeast kind of thing, where people would go to the Hamptons and things like that, and they take their kids out for like summer vacation. They have a summer home, right? The idea of a summer home, that's where that comes from. They do that. So people were pulling their kids out of school already, so they just kind of decided that, okay, well, we won't have school during these hot summer months because they're kind of miserable to be in. So that's why it has nothing to do with farming. That's just a weird thing that people say that has actually no basis in fact whatsoever. It's a little bit of a tangent, but if you're ever wondering, I guess that's your weird fact for the day. But so yeah, so they're working on trees. There's not a ton of trees because it's a rice plantation for the most part, but They are probably working on some. They probably do have some type of trees. Actually, they probably have more vines. They're in an area they might have some grapevines and things like that. Some vine fruits, tomatoes, things like that. And they're probably working on those. Rather than trees. I mean, I guess they could be working on dates or olives. Those kind of trees. But yeah, I mean, they're not... The area of the world that we're in, they don't have apple trees. And probably not orange trees. It's gonna get too cold for orange trees. But yeah, so that's where we're coming over at. We're looking down. So we did update our calendar. And we do need to update our weather. So it's not really gonna matter because we had a whole bunch of the same weather in a row. Real nice day. Average temperatures, calm winds, clear skies, visibility is really good. That's why we can see all the way out to Aquarius Plantation. Right, visibility is really good because it's a few miles away. But we're also on the crest, kind of going down into the bowl that is the Oasis Valley. So we can see that. Now, so we've got that done. We do want to see... So we've got that done. We do need to check for in-town events, so that's another thing that I just kind of jump back here to my DM binder. And of course, I've got a video where I go over all the stuff that's in my DM binder. So if you're interested in that, you know, you can find that or on the channel. Go look for it as I run down the stuff that's in here. But one thing that I do like, a little resource that I've created for myself. Let me get to it. Is, well, there we go. Is I have a chart for things that happen in town when you show up. So there's only a there's only a 1 in 12 chance that something is actually going on in town. We did not roll a 12, so not that. But if you're wondering just the sort of things that are in there, you can have traveling acrobats or a circus. Somebody's having a fight. There could be a fire. There could be a funeral. There could be a market day. A minor festival day, traveling vendors, some sort of unsolved crime or mystery that's kind of going on, a wedding, public punishment, public works project, some sort of affliction that's going through the town. There might be a birth, right? Militia training, strangers that are in town, or strange creatures sighted on the outskirts of town. That's just sort of weird stuff that you can just kind of come across. Again, like I'm trying to sort of build up some of that exploration, some of that sort of social urban stuff, because we don't get a lot of that in D&D 5e. They just raw resources. We don't get a ton of how to do anything other than combat and dungeons for the most part, right? That's the majority of the rules that we get and sort of ideas. So, you know, when given nothing, we have to, as Dungeon Master, make up our own stuff. But there's nothing going on in town, as far as we can see from sort of our vantage point. There doesn't seem to be like a big congregation of people messing with anything. Now, we do know that there is the cult. Last time we were here, I think last time we were here, maybe the time before, we do know that there were some people from the cult of Narimata down there. We probably don't want to get seen by them because we know that the Chimera's involved with them. We don't know how, but there is a likelihood that if we get spotted by Narimata cultists, that information is going to find its way back to the Chimera, which we don't want. Leah's already got enough targets on her back. So, we also don't know really who we can trust in town. There's also the chance of Norkruth down there, because that's the first place we met Norkruth. And he's not going to be happy to see us. We've screwed him over enough times that he's not going to be happy to see us if we go down there. So probably gonna give the city itself a bit of a skirt. I think that's probably going to be the best. We do need to get some supplies though. But we could send somebody into town that they don't know. We could send, so they know Omer, they know us, they know Ott. We could send Delg and Imbar in to maybe pick up some supplies and meet back up with us. Maybe get an idea of sort of what's going around in town, and the rest of us are going to kind of make that wheel around, and we'll do our... We'll jump back into exploration mode, and they know where we're going. Actually, crap. I was gonna say they could grab boats for us, but I think we've got too many people for that to work. It's still gonna draw a bunch of heads if we have 2 people who try to like grab 5 boats. I don't think that's gonna work, because otherwise we got to walk around, and that's a pain in the butt. And walking around is the first place that we came across. Gimble's men. I don't think Gimble's probably still there. But if Gimble's there, Norcruth might be there, because they're related, obviously, because Gimble was his employer, until things went kind of sour, and, yeah, well. You can go back and watch that session if you want to know what happened. There's a falling out. We were there to witness it. It's not great. There's a reason Norcruth doesn't like us. But I think meeting Norcruth by himself, or with some of his lackeys, is a much more manageable situation than rolling up down into the trading post and all hell breaking loose. So we've got 2 competent people in our party. I think we're going to send them who they're not familiar, or the people here aren't going to be familiar with them being related to us probably, so in association with us. So we'll send them down there to get the supplies and stuff, and then we're going to skirt around. So we'll give them a fat sack of gold, and then on the condition that Embar needs to bring this back if she wants to get paid, because she still needs to get paid. And we're gonna skirt around, I think, at this point. So let's jump down into exploration mode. Let's go down to our exploration mode. Alright, so let's roll our constitution. Start out. We got advantage, because again, we still have animals. What's the least bonus? 2. Alright. So 14. Oh, sorry, threshold. Progression. That's still 0. Let's go down here. Alright, so again, we don't want to go directly here, so I'm saying we're starting here. Alright, so we're going to move down into this hex. So we're starting here, we're going to move down into this hex. We'll pass this D4. Movement, ooh. So it's going to take us a bit. So we're probably not going to get there. And then we're going to have a couple others here. Let's roll a water or... Okay. So, this is indeed a water hex. We can't go there, because we didn't bring a boat with us, and we're not going to swim that. So, let's see about that next one. Okay, that is also still one of these guys. Oops, sorry. That is this guy right here. Alright, then we're getting down towards sort of the forested area and into the river. We do need to check, did we run across any sort of random encounter? No. Okay. So we're going to move into this hex. Spend some more time. 3. Okay. Oh, we're ripping through it real quick. So it may take us a couple days to get this last one done, because we're kind of having to go out of our way. Run across anything? No. Okay. Let's keep moving into those woods. Alright, 1. That's good. And no encounter. So we're going to move down here. This sort of subtropical dry forest area. And we'll spend an extra point going through there. But yeah, I mean, you can tell we're not going to make it over there. Would have been nice to take the boats, but ooh. We were going around. We could go down to... Alright, so I'm going to assume that Leah's smarter than I am. So let's make her an intelligence check. Well, maybe not, because I just rolled just awful on that. And she has people with her. Yeah. Alright, never mind. I was gonna say that Leah, being smarter than I am and more cognizant of the world, would be like, hey, we'll probably just go down here to this noble holding, what's that guy's name again? Dren. We could go down there to Dren's place, because we need to go down there anyways, because we were looking for the, Rhymefire's, that's on the way to Rhymefire's sort of potential lair. But I wasn't smart enough to think about that, and apparently neither was Leah, so we're not going to deal with that. Even though that would be a much nicer place to rest for the night, we didn't do that. So we're just going to keep moving. We're going to follow the river now. Oh, that's not great. Right, so we're going to move into this square, this hex. We're up to 12. Alright, so we probably only got like maybe 1, maybe 2 left in here. Alright, we're going to keep traveling west. And come on, not a 4. And it is a 4. Perfect. 9. There we go. Alright, so we hit our threshold of 16. So basically what that means is once we hit that 14, we can keep moving, but now we have to start making active constitution checks. Saving throws against exhaustion until we rest. Do we want to keep pushing? It'd be nice to be on the river. The river's a pretty nice place to rest rather than the forest. Yeah, let's rest here. So we'll set up camp here. But we've sent off Imbar and Del to go get supplies in town and meet us. Just told him, hey, follow the water's edge. You're gonna run across us. We're going around the south way. We could have gone probably the north way, but we don't know very much about that. We know we're at least familiar with most of the southern route around the Oasis. So we know we were going to run into Gimble's camp, but if we run into Norcruth by himself, then that probably won't be too much of an issue. But yeah, follow him and you'll find our camp. So we sent these two chuckleheads off to gather supplies, specifically food, because we're going to be out of food after making this camp. So we're going to hope that they do this well. Imbar, I mean, neither of them are particularly charismatic, I don't think. No. I mean, they'll still get advantage because they're going to help each other. But, it's going to be what it is. Oh, hi. Yeah, so we're trying to sneakily make our way around this oasis, trying to get to a plantation that's on the western side. Because we don't want to go through town because there are some people who might identify us and might wish us ill. But we had to send a couple of our party who people didn't know into town to get some supplies because we are out of rations. So that's sort of what's happening. We're at the end of a 2-week plus journey, but we're right at the end, and it's going to be a bit of a little struggle for us. But that is in synopsis where we are. To give you the full story is a much larger thing, but that's sort of where we are right now. So these guys are going to take camp. We've got Delg and Imbar, who these chuckleheads are going to go into town and see if they can get us some rations. Alright, so we need, I mean, we've got some gold, right? We've got some gold. How much gold does she have? Yeah, she's got some gold. Let me double check price, but I think I know the price off the top of my head for rations. Again, it's a little bit different because we use a supply die rather than hard and fast specifics for rations. But it is in here. Yeah, okay. So it's 5 silver or half a gold a day. So we'll do that. 3. I think what they buy all the way. Well, they didn't take the animal with it, did they? Because we took the animal with us. So they can only carry up to a D6 on the way back. So, dang, I should have left them with the mule. That was really dumb. Oh. I mean, I blame me, but I want to blame Leah. Leah, you gotta be smarter, girl. Like, we should have stopped at the Half-Orc's Keep for resting there. Because we're friendly with him. And instead of camping, and we should have sent them with the mule so that way they could carry back more supplies, because now they can't. They're going to this. Oh, hey. Enjoy lurking. It's fun. I think it's fun. That's why I'm doing it. I'm glad you guys find it fun. So, yeah, we have made some missteps here. I blame me, in truth. But in universe, I want to blame Leah for not thinking this through very much. Alright, but that's 3. Okay, so that's 8. So 4 gold's worth. Alright, that's not much. Well, that would technically be for one person. I'm assuming that everybody else chips in. So 4 gold. That's nothing. Yeah, we can sink that cost, no problem. That's not going to be a problem for us. Now the question is, and this is going to be an oracle question, are they going to make it back? Because they had to go there, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's quite a ruck with a full satchel. It's quite a ruck. So I think I'm going to give them... So I'm going to ask the D20, are they going to make it back? But I'm going to make it -3. So we got to get 11 or better for it to be yes. But that's -3. So technically we've got to roll a 14 or better. Oh, wow. So they do make it back. They do make it back, and they do make it back with the supplies. But they are probably dog-tired. But that means our rations go from having that... We were literally out of rations back up to a D6. And I'm not going to make myself roll for it because we know we specifically had rations at least for this day. We had supplies for this day. And then we're going to make it around. So the question is, we're going to go to sleep. We're going to camp out. Well, you got to roll for a random encounter. Does anybody show up while we're sleeping? No. Okay. Peaceful night. Things go as we would like. So, you know, that's good. We really don't want to take on any more fights. We've only had one fight on the back half of this journey, and it was a bit of a doozy. Right, those star spawn grew gave us what, 4? But I'm more happy that we're not running across somebody like Norkruth or the Cult of Narimana or some of the other belligerents that are sort of in the area that wish us ill, based off of, I don't know, the consequences of our actions. But, yeah. Alright, so night passes. We get up. We're going to roll a new Constitution. Again, we have the mule, so we get advantage. Alright, so that's another 14. So we're going to be in the same place that we were last time. Oh, I don't think that's probably going to be enough to get there. Oh. Oh, crap. I forgot there's water over there. We really can't get there without the... I forgot that... This is, again, I'm going to blame in-universe Leah, but me in general. We're going to need a boat. There's no way we can swim the animals out there. That will be a problem. But we can send somebody over there to go get them. Because Akari's got boats. We know Akari has boats. Akari can bring boats for us. But it means we gotta send somebody he recognizes, which will probably be... I don't know if we want to send Leah. Leah's not as strong. Well, I mean, she's okay, but she's not a super strong swimmer. Oh, it's probably going to be the right choice for there. But we got to get there first. I don't want her to try to swim across this giant lake. That's many miles. So we're going to try to get, I think, probably to here. This little marshy land, so that way she only has to swim this one hex, which is still going to be a bear of a swim. Because it's still over 2 miles of a swim, but that's fine. She can make it. She's a big old tough no girl. She got it. I believe in her. Alright, let's move on. 2. Alright, off to a good start. Off to a good start. This resets, so we're back to 2. And now the party's all back together. So we're at full strength. Okay. Nothing there. We'll keep moving. 3. All right, so we're gonna move up to 5. All right, so we're on our way to that threshold. Hopefully nothing happens to us. Oh, that's 12. That means there is something that happens to us. So that was this one. We moved in this. Ooh, that makes sense. Something would happen there, because this is in fact Gimble's old camp. We did push them out, but we should ask the question. Oh, Gimble's not gonna be. Well, Gimble doesn't know that what we did with Rhymefire. He's not aware of that, as far as we know. So the question is it Gimble's people? We drove Gimble's people off. They were looking specifically for that monster. And I think they've gone somewhere else. So I'm gonna say -3. But is it somebody related to Gimble? Oh, it is. Natural 20. It's Gimble. It's gonna be Gimble. Gimble's there. Who is Gimble's a halfling, right? Either a halfling or a gnome. Let's go down here. Gimble, where are you, buddy? There he is. Halfling. Yep. Alright, so Gimble's there with his group of people. We're gonna roll up on his camp. That's not great. Alright, so we roll up on Gimble's camp. Surprisingly to see that his camp's active again. After he had been kind of asked to move on. We kind of asked him to move on. What do we think Lee's gonna try to go out in glad hand and try to make the best of it. Because at this point we're operating, we don't know if Gimble knows anything about the stuff that we did with Rhymefire, if he doesn't know about the agents of Gimble that we killed, who were trying to recapture Rhymefire. And we made sure there were not any witnesses, so he shouldn't know anything about that, hopefully. So she's gonna go out there and try to glad hand it. Be like, oh, so great to see you. How are you doing? Oh, I thought you would have moved on from here. Wasn't expecting to find you here. But especially after that falling out with Norcruth. Of course, Leah has no social skills whatsoever, though she have a little bit natural charisma. She will have advantage. She's got a buttload of people with her. But she doesn't roll well. 9. Alright, let's make a DC for that. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. That's a DC 16. 36 plus 6. Alright. So now we're gonna ask a question. Gimble's not super pleased to see, not super happy to see us, but is Gimble not happy to? Is he angry with us? Is he upset with us about something? I think there's got to be like a 50-50 shot, right? There's got to be a 50-50 shot. All right, he is actively upset with us. All right, what is he upset with us about? All right, does he know about the Rhymefire incident that happened outside of Cardoonton, where his people were trying to capture Rhymefire again? Again, this is the first time, as far as we know, them capturing Rhymefire. He was just already captured before when we freed him. So, is that what he's upset about? I think -3. Like I said, we took out the witnesses, so I don't think that's the issue. Do you want to do it -3 or -5? Because we kind of covered our bases. I'm going to say -5 because I think we covered our bases. I think he's probably upset about something else. Yeah, okay. So he's not upset about that. All right. What the heck is he upset about? Well, Gimble could be he's in the monster hunting. Well, it could be Slaver's Affliction. Is he upset about something to do with Slaver's Affliction? And maybe that's why he's not happy to see us, because he doesn't want it spreading anymore. I think that's 50-50 shot. Alright, well, he's not upset about that. Okay. What else could Gimble be upset about? Well, he could be upset about, just trying to think. What else could he be upset about? As far as we know, he wasn't involved with the trade with the Ghast. Is he upset about that? I don't think so. If I remember correctly, we said that was a Norcruth thing. That was after Norcruth had left Gimble's employment. So -5 on that. Oh, wait. I'm starting to think, because as I was talking that out, I think I had a better proposition for that than that. Because I think maybe he's just upset with Norcruth. I think he and Norcruth still have beef, because Norcruth left unhappy last time the two of them we saw them together. So actually, we'll go with that if this doesn't roll positively for us. Is he and Norcruth still having some sort of beef? I think that's extremely likely. Norcruth seems like the sort of person who, like a dog with a bone, he's just not going to let it lie. He's going to carry that grudge till somebody's in the grave. So +5. No, okay, so it wasn't that. He is upset about that. And that directly involves us, because we definitely stole Rhymefire out. Oh yeah, so apparently he was a broker. Apparently he was a broker for that deal. Norcruth just lied to us or didn't tell us the full story about that. I was like, well, I'm not happy to see you. You know, last time I heard you were losing me a lot of money in a deal I was trying to had Norcruth that I was brokering for Norcruth. You know, I had a finder's agent fee for that between him and the third party, and to hear it retold is that well, there was this lady with a very identifiable scar on her face. Leah's like, that's me. And he kind of looks past her, the gaggle of people that are with her, and yes, one particular studious person who human familiar to us in Split Valley Oasis, who has a penchant for dragons. Homer's like, oh, that's me. Oh, yep, that pretty much nails us to the wall. So I think Leah's going to try to spin it. Leah's going to have help from Omer and other people about sort of the situation and talk about sort of the breakdown of the Ghast and things like that. And she's going to try to spin it. Again, she's kind of naturally charismatic, but not particularly skilled. Like, doesn't have a proficiency in it. But we're going to try to silver line this as much as we can. Talk about, you know, the negotiations breaking down. It really didn't have anything to do with us. You know, his men attacked us. We defended ourselves. Norcruth. We'll probably sandbag Norcruth and be like, he ran like the little bee he is. He took off. Well, you know Norcruth. Right, talking to Gimble. You know Norcruth. You know how he is. So again, advantage. Come on, girl. It's not very good still. You gotta roll higher, girl. That's 12. Is that gonna be enough? Huh? If I roll really low, it could be enough. I didn't roll really low. It's a 15. A 12's not gonna be. He's not buying it. Not happy. Yes, I understand there were extenuating circumstances, but what I know is there was somebody who wasn't supposed to be there, and then somebody was there, and as far as I know, that dragon's gone, somehow made it out of the city, only to be found by some of my own agents searching for it on the outskirts some weeks later. Except, those men, as far as I've heard, ended up dead. And of course, some of them died from wounds from a dragon, but others seem to have been struck by magic. He's like, oh god! Yeah, that's me. That's me. Yeah, that's gonna be me, isn't it? So you wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you, Leah? Ooh, does Leah try to lie here? There's some plausible deniability, right? Riverside Conservatory is in Carjunton, and that is a pretty well-established magic academy. In addition to other things, it's a college, but there is magic that goes on there. But he has pinned them against the wall, and they are squirming. And I don't know if Gimble's the sort of dude that you really want to lie to. He is a noble, but he is a slaver and a businessman, and there aren't a lot of nice slavers around. So do we try to lie? Oh man, I really don't know. You know what? I'm just gonna leave this up to the Oracle, because this is one of the things where even in Leah's headspace, me as a player, I'm like, I don't know what she would do. All right, let's ask a clarifying question. Looking at the campus here, we know there was a large camp here before. We don't know how many people are here, but given they're looking at it, if this went into a fight, if this broke down into combat, does Leah think, looking at the people she has, looking at the people Gimble has, that it's plausible that they could even win that fight, or at least fight their way out of a bad situation? So yes, it's at least evenly stacked. Because we rolled an 11, which should be an interrupted scene. And I would like for this to be an interrupted scene, because I'm really don't want to deal with the rest of this scene. It's not a great spot to be in. So I'm happily await an interruption to this scene before we get into a knockout, drag-out fight with a guy that, if we kill, is probably going to have some negative repercussions because he's a noble. Not really what we want to do. But he's also a businessman, so if he feels he's off it, he'll throw it away. Alright, interrupted scenes. Here we go. Alright, so we need a subject for our interrupted scene. So they're having this very tense discussion, right? We have lines. We have Leah and her group. We have Gimble and his sort of hardened slaver guards and such. We rolled a 13. Escape or fleeing an ordinary location. I feel like this is the ordinary location. I'm thinking that means that while people are distracted, I'm gonna guess that he's got some slaves. Alright, question. Is it slaves or creatures? Whoever this is breaking free. Is this, are these monsters? Or beasts of some type that he's got corralled? No. Okay, so it is people. So there's a jailbreak. As these people are sort of distracted, there is a break in the sort of fence, palisade, whatever you want to call it, the pen that's sort of holding in the slaves that they've captured. And while everybody's distracted, we see them, because of course, right, Gimble and his party have their back to them because they're putting all their attention on us. And we're watching these people start to slide out of the pen and disappear. Well, what's to the southwest? Let me just ask that. Uh, 10, so that's +2, so... Okay, so it's sort of a plains area. That's fine, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah. And we see them making a run for it. As they start to, the pen breaks open. Let's make them... Let's make a DC, and then I'm just going to roll Gimble's perception against it. See if they see it. Okay, now I roll a low DC. That's a DC of 6. Almost. He's got a bunch of people with him, so he's gonna have advantage. Yeah, natural 20. So they're having this discussion, and Leah's like got her mouth open, like trying to figure out how she's gonna answer. Is she gonna lie to this guy? Are we gonna break out into a fight? You know, their hands are sort of slowly starting to move towards weapons. You know, as that tension starts to reach its climax before, you know, the levee breaks and combat starts. And then the wall of the palisade comes crashing down as probably half the slaves are out of the pen now, and they are just bolting to what would be the southwest. So bolting towards the open plains. And Gimble like whips around and looks at him. It's like, get those people! Get them! And so they all break and take a run, and they turn around and start running off. And Gimble starts trotting that way, and then he turns back and like throws a look back at Leah. We're not done here. And turns back around and runs off to just Leah, like, there's a collective sort of exhale from the group. Leah kind of turns around, looks at everybody. And I think Imbar, who doesn't really understand the tensions of the situation, doesn't really understand what's going on, but understands that, hey, this was about to be a really big, very serious combat that almost happened that we just sort of averted. And she just kind of looks at him and was like, let's get the fuck out of here. Yeah, let's go. So yeah, we're gonna make a run. We're gonna keep running across the sand. Ooh, question. Does Gimble have any boats? I think that's extremely likely that he has some boats. It's a +5. Yeah. Gimble's got a bunch of boats. Man, are we gonna steal those boats? Oh, that's really tempting. And that would definitely get us away from him really quickly. Do we want to piss off Gimble any more than we already have? I don't know. This is a really bad situation. I don't want to be in this situation. We were on good terms with Gimble too, and that's turned sour on us. Well, crap. Dang. I'm gonna have her do, because I think there's gonna be pressure to take the boats. Primarily led by Imbar, who's not involved with this situation. So I'm gonna have her make a charisma saving throw. Nope. She's 100% on board, full steam ahead. F it. We're taking the boats. Let's get out of here. 1 is bad enough that I think she sabotages the other boats. Yeah. Do we sabotage the boats, or do we just take the other oars? Probably sabotage the boats. Oh, yeah. I think they're jumping on the boats, they're putting people on the boats. They probably, since they're moving slaves, I assume that they have a boat that's large enough for us to fit some of the mules and animals on. That we can push out. And take it over to Akari's. But yeah, now that I think about it, I think Lid just kind of snaps and Igni kind of poofs into existence, her little fire method. Be like, burn those boats. Burn the whole camp. Burn it all down. If we're gonna burn bridges, let's burn bridges, I guess. Scorched earth. Alright. Lee's gonna go hard in making enemies. Alright. Yeah. Gimble hasn't shown himself to be a shrewd and powerful person. Why don't we just piss him off? Okay. So Igni can fly. He'll be able to catch up with us. Anyways, he also has what's the cantrip called? A bonfire? Control flames. So he can create flames because he has the fire breath. So he just breathes fire over some of the boats that are still, you know, more sort of pulled up on the dock, on the beach, and then he uses control flames to just keep moving them 5 foot at a time. He just moves them down the row. He just moves them and then moves them from the boats across the grass over to the camp. He just lights it all on fire, and he'll catch up with us. They're busy. They're off chasing those slaves. They don't care about the camp right now because their money's running away from them. So yeah, he burns that down. They all jump in the boat, in the boats that they have, and they paddle out to Akari's. Maybe maybe Gimbal and his troops see where they go. Maybe they don't. It doesn't really matter. I mean, they're gonna know that they took the boats. They're not gonna know where they took the boats necessarily. But it's a small town. They'll figure it out pretty soon. They may have a day or two. All right, yeah. Well, that floated about as well as a lead balloon. So, great encounter, guys. We're just pissing off more people. Great. Perfect. We probably need to write a note about that. About what we did. Oy. Under our stuff. So we did this. We did check. We did this. We did not ask about the dead travelers. So we're going to leave that for later. We just skirt around town. So we sent... We sent Imbar and delved for supplies, and we ran into Gimbal. Gimbal is camp. He's not happy with us. We'll say highly suspects involvement with Rimfire's failed deal with the ghast. The ghast and the slaying of his men trying to recapture the dragon. So yeah, and all right, distracted by slave escape attempt, really, and we stole his boats. We burned the rest of his boats and camp. Yeah, we're the heroes, by the way. It may not seem like it, but I promise, we're sometimes the heroes. So yeah, let's finish out. I feel like, since this kind of took a hard left turn from what I was thinking, I thought this would be a relatively uneventful last few miles to make it there to Akari's. But that's not the case. So I think we'll keep going with the boats, hopefully, and then I think we'll probably break as we reach the plantation. So we've been going for we're closing in on 2 hours and 45 minutes, which is pretty good for a stream. And I think that'll give me some time to think about what's going to happen once we reach Akari, and especially in light of now this Gimbal episode, which I wasn't expecting. Of course, Akari's got no love for Gimbal, so... And if there's one person in Split Valley Oasis who has the ability to stand up to Gimbal, it's going to be Akari. And we've got his family bow, and we're pinning all our hopes on returning that bow as to call in our IOU for safe haven. But now it's safe haven against one extra person we were planning on. So that's probably going to come to a head sooner rather than later. Yay. I mean, you can say a lot of things about Leah, but she can definitely find a mess. She can make a mess out of anything. It's fun. It's fun playing an intelligent but not charismatic, particularly charismatic character. So she is smart, but she is not a people person for the most part. And that really comes out, and I'm really glad to see it. I'm happy with all the things that are happening. Don't misconstrue it. I'm frustrated because it's weird and awful, but it's so much fun. I'm so glad that this is just an absolute train wreck sometimes. But let's finish up this exploration, and then, like I said, we'll call it for this session. All right, so we got our boats, we got people paddling with us, so I'm gonna give us advantage, and we're gonna make a run for it. Yeah, why am I rolling that? I don't know why I'm rolling that. 3. So we had 3. All right. So now we're probably gonna get there. We probably shouldn't have sold. That was probably a very dumb decision. But hey, that's what the dice said to do. So what are you gonna do? That's the reason we roll the dice, right? To inject that chaos. All right. Nothing happens there. We're gonna move another one. Uh-oh. Stinky. That's not good. All right. So we move another one. But we did roll a 1, which means there's a random encounter. We're gonna get into an encounter. It can never be easy. It can never be easy. This creature is toasty, right? That's the water we're done, right? Yes, we drove this off, so we don't have to worry about that. But we are gonna come across something in the water. Do I have a water table? I'm pretty sure. Well, let's just go this way. All right, so we do know. We'll roll our d6 for what type creatures these are going to be. They should be artificial, probably. They are indeed. So let's roll a d20, find out what type of creature. So it's going to be some sort of man adjacent thing. Oh. Interesting. I rolled a 7, which is technically giants. But giants in the water. Huh. Okay. Let's find out what it is. All right, we can get rid of this guy. We don't need aberrations anymore. We need giants. Give me some giants. That immediately gave me a deadly encounter. Not really sure why. That's what? Sometimes this maker is very weird. Like, why does it keep throwing me, like, really hard? Why is it good? Maybe that bolt launcher. I like that bolt launcher. But then we can only do 1 half ogre. There must not be a lot here, right? Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much down to CR 1s and 2s. So we do 2 ogres. We do 2 ogres. What about 3? We can do. I mean, we could go all the way up to 4. Let's how many we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's just roll a d8 and see what we land on. 2. Okay. So we got an ogre. So a couple of ogres. Which makes sense. Ogres, not... As far as 5e monsters, so ogres are a little bit underpowered for their CR, if I remember correctly. Been a little bit since I've used one. What was I going to look up? Oh. Yeah, so I also have in my DM binder this nice little 1d10 chart that's like, hey, what are the monsters doing when you run across them? So it appears that they're doing some sort of ritual bathing in the water. In these waters. Well, let me double check that. Is that what they're doing? They could also be making a sacrifice. Okay, yeah. So they're doing some ritual bathing. Which means that they're probably wading in this water. And actually, before we get too far, I'm just going to, before I forget about it, I'm going to add this to our task. Let's encounter you have ogres. Ritual bathing in the oasis. Oh, so what's sort of our distance here? What kind of distance are we working with when we come across them? Oh no, we come up right on them. They must have been underwater. They're like literally on top of us. They come up and immediately, oh, did they tump over one of the boats? Yeah. I'm just gonna assume it's Leah's boat. So we're gonna say the boats with all the combatants in it. So it's gonna be, so everybody's pulling, they're paddling, and then boom, these two ogres erupt out of the water because they were underwater doing whatever their sort of ritual bathing is. I don't know if they say a prayer underwater or something, but we didn't know they were there, and we were just paddling, and then they, boom, they jump up, they knock over our boat, and our combatants are in the drink. We could try to talk to them. I don't know how that will go. Ogres not known for being the smartest people in the world. Yeah, and with that intelligence 5, not particularly smart people. But, they've got 59 hit points. We'll just go ahead and put them down here. Yeah, what's their dex? -1. So I'll actually be going on 9. And these are ogres. How many hit points did I say? 59. Okay. But they've got a buttload of hit points is the problem. It's been a few days, so I'm going to guess that Leah's magic missile wand has... It was only down 3 charges. It's definitely been 3 days since she used it. So it's full. Because I think she may just, like, almost unload on one of these guys. Let's roll some initiatives. Alright, Leah's going good. Inbar... What is your bonus? Okay, so Inbar will go in front. So, as they are right now. Hot. So those guys are all in the drink. And of course, Runfire's keeping their distance. So probably not going to show up. Though before I forget about it, I'm going to leave that note. I'm going to leave that as a note at the bottom here. Do Gimbal and Co. spot Runfire? Because now they're in the brush. They're out running around checking for slaves. There's a chance they could run across Runfire. I'm locking that in so we can think about that for next session. I'm not going to deal with that today. But for next session, we'll think about that. Alright, so we are into initiative. Yeah, I think we would assume that that's an attack. I guess, by jumping over it. I mean, these guys are real dumb. This is really a Leah call. Leah's an intelligent person. I think she knows enough to know that ogres are not very intelligent. I'm going to give her a free insight check. Not with advantage, because she has to do this on her own. Does she have any inkling as to whether she thinks she can talk to these people or not? Talk to these ogres or not? That's very low. That's a 7. I mean, could possibly... No. She has no idea. Better safe than sorry. She's got a bunch of people she's trying to protect. She swims over and she, like, latches onto the overturned boat and pulls the wand out of her pocket, and wand the magic missile in her pocket, and points it at one of these ogres' faces, and just she's gonna unload 5 of the 6 charges on it. So that's 5d4 plus 5. I didn't roll super great, but 16 points of damage against that first one. We're gonna assume that, at least for right now, that Igny's still kind of working on this thing. Just in case we need him. I don't think we will. Okay. Igny shows up in round 4. In case we need him. I don't think we'll need him, but just in case we need him. Ott's gonna swim over to the boat. we could try to flip this boat back over. Or she could, I mean, she could try to take a shot. That's going to be really hard to do, sort of from the water, without getting on top of the boat. And it's not the greatest platform. Certainly not steady footing. And I don't think she wants to drop her bow in the water because there's likely, well, it's a bow, it should float. It's not great for the bow, but I mean, we're not gonna go that far into reality, right? Worrying about the water saturation in a bow. that's a little bit too realistic. I mean, it's already enough to be like the bow's strung all the time, which is not how you take care of a bow. But that's all right. So yeah, she'll clamber up on top of it. I mean, she doesn't wear boots or anything, so she doesn't have to worry about that. And so she's got good pads and claws. She should be able to scramble up there, no problem. I think being the big knoll that she is, 7-foot tall knoll that she is, and she's just gonna pull her bow, grab 2 arrows, and take 2 shots. I think they have a 13 AC, right? No, 11. Well, definitely missed with that one, but she'll hit with one of them. 28 plus 2. 5 points of damage. Done 38. And that's her. Delg's turn. I think Delg's gonna go not to this boat. I think he's gonna go to one of the boats that's not been tumped over. And gonna grab onto that and pull himself up onto the prow of that one. And from there, he will attempt to make a sling attack. He'll miss. And then Imbar. I think Imbar's going to clamber up on the overturned boat next to Ott. I'm going to give her an athletics check because this is... actually, this is probably more of an acrobatics check. She might make that, because I'm trying to make sure she keeps her footing. She's not trained in acrobatics, so that would be 11. Is she slipping and sliding? Probably. She's probably not going to make that. No, it's a DC 12. Dang it! Arrgh. So close. So close. Alright. So she's up there, but I'm going to have her be prone. Which is not a great place to be. But she will do that, and she will hold her action to use her big hammer when the ogres get over there to attack, so she can get her preemptive attack and try to get that extra damage for getting up. It is the ogre's turn. They move into attack. There's 2 people on top of the boat. I think they'll just go 1 on each. So we'll go the first one on... They're going to be right next to each other. So it'll be basically 2 and 2 fighting each other. So the first one's going to go after Ott. Take a swing at Ott. And miss. Wow. Alright. Well, not going to complain about that. And then the other one is definitely got advantage because she's prone. Which also not going to hit. Because it's still only a 14. Wow. I feel like that never happens. Alright, well, that's a lot of whiffing from these ogres. They probably weren't expecting to get into a fight. That's fine. I assume they have their clubs with them. Even though they probably might not, but I don't know. They're kind of dumb. Maybe they just carry their clubs with them all the time. We'll just assume that they have their weapons with them. And their armor on. Even though they would probably have neither of those things if they were really doing ritual bathing. Actually, I guess we could roll for that. It is reasonable to assume, I feel. Like, do they have their weapons with them? I actually don't think that's probably true. -3. Alright, they do have their weapons with them. Do they have their armor on? I also don't think that's probable. That is -3. So they don't have their armor on. Which means they have a 9 AC. Which means they're super easy to hit. Which is good. I'll take all of that we can get. It is Leah's turn. Leah's holding on to the back of this boat. And she is going to... I guess Firebolt. Firebolts, these guys are going to be pretty easy to hit. I think she's going to use Firebolt. Yeah. So a D10 of damage. Just attack the one she's been attacking. 3. So we're in round 2. So 2 more rounds before Igni shows up, if we need him. That's her turn. Ott's in there. She's going to drop her bow into the drink. Of course, it floats. We just talked about that. She's going to pull her spear instead and make an attack with advantage. Actually, she'll make 2 attacks. She's going to hit with one of them. She's going to hit with the second one. She will indeed. She only needs a 9. So 2d8 plus 4. Minimum damage on 2 attacks. Great. 6 points of damage. Well, you know, we're not going to do it quickly, but we'll get it done. 27. Alright. Well, that's Ott. Ott's pretty sure-footed. I'm not going to make her have to make the acrobatics check unless she gets knocked. Because she's got her bare feet on that wood, and she's got claws. I'm not going to worry about that. And she didn't knock him out, so she's not going to get any of that stuff. Imbar. Imbar will attempt to make an acrobatics check to stand up. 17, that's pretty good. Yes. Alright, so she successfully finds her footing on top of the overturned boat. Has her hammer in her hand, and she's just going to pound on that one that Ott's stabbing with her spear. She's going to hit. She's going to get that gang up damage. For 13 points of damage. Not bad. Not bad. Alright, so that one's not in a good spot. Enough that it is that ogre's turn. That ogre needs to make a save. A morale save. Which I think... Alright, so that one's going to be in the fight. So that hurt one was the only one that needs to make a morale check right now. But is still in the fight. And we'll take a swing at... I guess we said that we were going one on each. So that one's going to take a swing at Ott. And we'll hit Ott. And they do 2d8 plus 4. Ouch. 16 points of damage to Ott. Ow. Alright. Not ideal. Technically she would have been at full health. So that's 14, 15, 16. That's 32 and a half. Yeah. So half of her hit points, boom, with one swipe. Now, a pretty good swipe. Right, better than average swipe, but still. Can't take a lot of those. Can probably take one more hit maybe before she goes down. And the other one's going to take a swing. Well, let's say she needs to make her... I'm going to make this a dexterity saving throw. She keeps her feet, yeah. Ott's goaded. She'll keep her footing. Maybe not for damage, but at least for this. And then the other one's going to attack Imbar. And I'm not sure that hits. Let's see, 16. I think 16 is exactly what they need. No, she's got her shield out. So that actually misses. So could have been worse. Could have been worse. But that's the end of the round. So now it's round 3. Leah's still there. Ott doesn't look great. Oh, wait. I forgot to do Delg. Let me do Delg. I kind of forget Delg. He doesn't add a ton to combat, but he should at least do it. I mean, he'll hit. I assume he goes after the injured one. Yeah. So he'll do 10 points damage. Max damage with that sling as a rock bings off this ogre's head. Arrgh! It turns around. Take more swings. But that is the top of the round. Leah. Yeah, I think she'll cast that second level magic missile again. I didn't recount it, but yeah, she'd have her spell slots back. So she will make that attack. At second level, which will give her 4. I think we kind of have to choose those beforehand. I'm going to send 3 against the first ogre. I want to make sure that ogre dies. Okay, yeah. So 3 magic missile, pale greenish darts, pop, 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 into the ogre, smash into its head and rips it open. And the thing falls back into the drink, dead. And the last one's going to go after the other one. For a whopping 2 points of damage. Woo! Alright, great job, Leah. I mean, she killed one. Can't really complain there. Ott's going to turn her attention to that other one, get the advantage, get a stab in. Going to hit, even with those terrible rolls. And hit with the other one, too. Thank goodness she had advantage. Maybe not minimum damage this time? It's not quite average damage. So, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 points of damage. Alright, so that ogre's in it. Doug's gonna make his attack. Doug's gonna hit. He'll do 3 more points of damage to it. So he hits this one with a stone in the head. And that leaves us with Inbar. Inbar's got advantage. She's going to make her attack with her hammer. She will hit, and she will get her gang up. Powerhouse that she is, she will do 16 points of damage. I gotta do some quick math. Either way, it's going to be close enough. I'm assuming that this ogre's probably going to run. Yeah, so this ogre runs. A couple of them are going to get pot shots on it as it tries to escape. That'll be 1 hit. That'll be another hit. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's it. Turning its back and trying to run away is more than enough to slay it. As Ott stabs it sort of in the kidney, in the back of the kidney with that spear, and it kind of goes through the front of the stomach. And then Inbar takes that mace and just cuffs it right in the side and right in the temple. From her raised position on the top of the boat. As this thing wades and it just kind of crumples down in the water with a big splash. And then we're gonna flip over those boats. Get the heck out of here. Great job, guys. We did it. So we killed those guys. We did that. And then we are going to do our last D4. It won't really matter, but let's, for the sake of being thorough, your last Constitution progress. Okay. Exactly at our threshold. We're going to pull into the sort of pier, the little rickety pier, wooden pier that steps out from the front of the marshland around the rice paddies and Akari's palatial sort of colonial style mansion that's over there. And I assume there are people waiting on the dock. I think that's almost guaranteed. It's +5. And there are people waiting to greet us as we arrive, and I think that's where we're going to cut it for right now. We're going to cut it right as we reach that pier, as those boats pull in and throw out their mooring lines and get secured in. And we'll pick up next time, in the next session, meeting back with Akari and dealing with all of that. It took us a minute, but we got there. We pissed off. Let me add that to our to-dos, because I definitely need to. So I need to do that, and she's going to have 1 of 6 charges right now. And we are going to. I need to update. Gimbal NPC info, because that relationship has obviously changed, as we found out in this session. That's it. So next time we're going to pick up with Akari. We're going to have that frank discussion. We're going to figure out things out. We're probably going to have to figure out how to deal with Gimbal. We need to find out if the Cult of Narimana, some of those guys are still lurking around Split Valley Oasis. If so, we need to maybe take care of them, or get them out of here, or do something with them. We're going to offload some of our treasure. We got to make sure that the sanctuary is going to be okay for that. We need to maybe figure out what we're going to do with Rhymefire. Now that's a little bit more difficult because we're going to have to pass by Gimble's situation. First, we got to figure out if Gimble has found Rhymefire. That would be very bad. We don't want that. But regardless, we're going to have to travel with Rhymefire through the remains of Gimble's burned camp now, to get to, I keep wanting to call him Dren, the half-orc's keep, and that will be a safe place for us as we move further south to find that old, abandoned, underground, sort of like religious shrine, which we think will be a good spot for Rhymefire to maybe lay claim as his lair. But we are going to have to do something about the Gimble situation, because we did have that other layer that was a really good possibility, but Norcruth knew about it, so we couldn't use that one. Gimble definitely knows about that shrine. Gimble and Norcruth both know about that shrine, but as far as we know, they don't have any relation to it for Rhymefire, so we could still maybe use it. It's all just going to depend how that stuff shakes out. We've got to figure all that stuff out. But that's for future Leah to figure out and future me to figure out. So if you want to find out what happens, just as I want to find out what happens, you're going to have to make sure to come back and tune in for the next session. If you want to catch up, if all this is flying by and you're like, I have no idea who all these people are and what's going on, I suggest, check out the rest of the YouTube channel in the subscriptions. We have cut up all the old sessions, and you can start with session 1. Next time is going to be our hallmark session 30. Wow, hard to believe. Been doing this for the better part of a year now. Wow, hadn't really thought about that. Yeah, we're closing in actually. That'll be really awesome to hit that sort of 1 year anniversary. That's gonna be a lot of fun, and we're gonna try to start figuring out stuff with the Chimera and Fargrim. There we go. Fargrim. So yeah, we gotta figure out the Ghast. Still don't know anything about the Mint, but hopefully we're gonna find a safe place for Arias, Maddie, not Harold, Harold's dead, Omer, Iolus, and Del. I guess Del could stay there. Yeah, it'll be safe for Del too. At this point, I mean, we kind of knew that we're gonna wrap Ott and Inbar into this, and yeah, I think the proof is in the pudding. We are definitely going to be like, you're going to have to stick with us. This is no longer going to be a paid thing. If you try to go out and do your own thing, you're going to be isolated. And one of these people that we have pissed off, and you in our company while doing that, is going to probably kill you. So maybe you should hang out with us in a non-paid kind of way, just for mutual survival. But yeah, that's for future us to figure out. Really excited for next time to figure out where it's going to go. I have no idea. I have no idea which of these threats is going to come for us first, which of these sort of hurdles we're gonna try to jump over. But thanks for coming along. Of course, we try to do this every week. Sometimes we do stuff. We do other stuff too. We do the hex mapping series and world building and talk about DM stuff and D&D stuff and tabletop RPG stuff and all sorts of things. So if you like that content, make sure you subscribe and check it out. Make sure you like this live stream video, give that thumbs up. Sometimes we'll stream over on Twitch, so you can check that out too. Give us a follow over there. Everything's at Red Ragged Fiend. Check out the blog, redraggedfiend.com, where I've been running that blog for a little over 10 years. Got a bunch of DM very specific world building stuff, as well as some player stuff too, so check it out, see what you're into. We have a world building process where we're doing top-down world building from scratch, so from blank page, and we're making a world and getting all the way down and finding out, the cultures and the nations and the states and the people and the races and the resources and who's eating what and where are people living and what's important to them and the gods and all that good stuff. So if you're interested in that sort of minutia of world building, definitely go check that out. And we have other stuff that's not that too. We just talk about like normal running D&D and other tabletop RPG kind of stuff. So give that a look out. We also have the Drive-Thru RPG store. I talked about that a little bit. We have some free pay what you want resources. If you could pay, give us a few dollars, donate that way. That's always great, help support the channel and blog and pay for that sort of stuff. We also have a Ko-fi link, ko-fi.com/redraggedfiend. do that, give a one-time donation, or become, you know, a recurring monthly supporter. Anything you decide to give is greatly appreciated. But thank you for hanging out with me. That's it for me, and I will catch you guys. I guess I'll catch you guys next time, right? Bye.